Tsale, it's story time. It's been 150 years since this work by Johann Strauss II premiered in Vienna. This light-hearted, humorous, cheeky crowd pleaser mixes social classes and scandalous love affairs into a rather tasty Bavarian beverage. Come, let's dance a Viennese waltz into Austrian aristocracy and fictional fun. This is Die Fledermaus, or The Bat. Now, let's get into the story. There's a lot going on in this opera, so hang on for the ride. Let's start off with the character Adele. Adele is a maid who works for the Eisensteins. She has just received a letter from her sister, Ida, informing her that the hottest party of the season is happening that night, and she must be there. A wealthy Russian prince named Orlovsky is having a grand ball at his Viennese mega mansion, and it promises to be the party of the year. I'm talking see and be seen. The who's who of Vienna will all be there. Nkokonsa, Kobe Blay, Amiel Deborah, Twins Don't Beg will all be representing, capturing the red carpet arrivals and taking over social media with their coverage. Adele is desperate to attend this party. The FOMO is real. As a chambermaid, she obviously needs permission from her employers before she can go anywhere, but she's already decided that she'll attend this shindig no matter what. While Adele is pondering her options, let's meet her bosses, the Eisensteins. Gabriel and Rosalinda von Eisenstein are in a loveless marriage. Gabriel, let's call him Eisenstein, is the troublesome type, and his latest problem is that he has been sentenced to a short term in jail for a minor offense. He and his lawyer, Dr. Blint, try to appeal the sentence, but since he got his lawyer from Temu instead of hiring a correct officer of the court, the appeal is denied, and the sentence is actually extended by a few days. He's supposed to report to jail that very evening to start serving his sentence. While he's preparing for his brief stint in jail, a close friend of his, Falke, decides to pay him a visit. Now, Falke is that friend who knows all of Eisenstein's dirty little secrets, and they get into lots of mischief together. In fact, there was one incident where Eisenstein played a prank on Falke, and they had a good laugh about it. So Falke has stopped by, and he tells Eisenstein about Orlovsky's party and that they must make an appearance. "We can't miss this ball, Eisenstein. You know we're the bad boys of Vienna. Everyone will be expecting to see us there. We go spoil there, Charlie." But of course, there's one small issue. Eisenstein is supposed to be reporting to jail. Falke is like, okay, you relax. We can still do this. As long as you report to jail by tomorrow morning, you're cool. So let's use this party as a pre-jail celebration. Come with me tonight, and I will help you pretend to be a French nobleman. Well, Eisenstein doesn't need much convincing. He tells his wife, Rosalinda, that Falke is escorting him to jail to begin his sentence. Rosalinda bids them goodbye, and the two men leave to get ready for their true destination, Orlovsky's Big Bash. Now, the madame of the house, Rosalinda, is fed up with her husband's bad behavior. But on this day, someone arrives at her house to cheer her up immensely. Her former boyfriend, Alfred. He's a charming chap, and he still has feelings for Rosalinda. I don't know if he could sense that Rosalinda had some extra room in her heart for some romance, but he shows up at her doorstep for a visit. Now, Alfred is actually an opera singer, and he starts serenading her with his melodious tenor voice. Rosalinda is enjoying the attention, but weighing the current circumstances with Eisenstein's legal troubles and the risk of being caught alone with Alfred, she urges him to leave and return later when they will have more privacy. So Alfred leaves. The maid, Adele, now approaches Rosalinda. She's finally mustered up enough courage to ask for the night off. And she didn't even come up with any creative excuse. My auntie is sick. That's the best she could come up with. Rosalinda is like, Adele, you've had too many sick aunties, uncles, grandparents, and parents this year. Are you the only person with sick relatives? I'm sorry, I need you here tonight, especially since Mr. Eisenstein is going to jail and I'll be here all alone. Oh, but wait. Rosalinda realizes this is her chance to have some quality time with Alfred. So she decides to give Adele permission to visit her sick aunt. Adele is overjoyed. She goes off to get ready for the party. Now, Rosalinda texts Alfred to let him know that the coast is clear for him to return, and Mr. Loverboy comes back to see her. Just as they're getting comfortable and ready for a romantic evening together, there's a knock on the door. Who could it be? Well, it's a gentleman named Mr. Frank, and he is the head of the prison where Eisenstein is supposed to be serving his sentence. He has come to their residence to personally escort Eisenstein to jail. Hey, Massa, why? But Eisenstein isn't there. Remember, he left with Falker to attend Orlovsky's party. As far as Rosalinda is aware, her husband has already gone to report himself to jail, but we know that he is out there chilling. So, how does she now explain to the prison master that her husband isn't there and she is home alone with another man? Well, it's obvious that Mr. Frank doesn't know what Eisenstein looks like. So, Rosalinda pleads with Alfred to pretend that he is Eisenstein to save them from a scandalous situation. Alfred is like, man, I came here to show Rosalinda what she's been missing, and now I have to pretend to be her husband who's going to jail? How did I get here? Rosalinda now has to watch her boyfriend go and serve her husband's term in jail. Wow. Now let's see what's happening at Orlovsky's mansion. The party is underway and it does not disappoint. The guests are having the time of their lives. Adele, the chambermaid, has borrowed one of Rosalinda's party dresses and she's looking and feeling great. As she wanders around the mansion, she bumps into her sister, Ida. Ida is surprised but excited to see Adele there. She's like, sis, what are you doing here? Adele is puzzled. Ida, what do you mean, what am I doing here? You're the one who wrote the letter informing me about the party. Ida is like, me? No, I didn't write any letter to you. I knew that madame of yours wouldn't let you leave the house, so I didn't even bother telling you about it. So how did you know? Now Adele is confused, and she's feeling awkward about being there. But Ida reassures her and tells her that if anyone asks, they'll say that she's an actress called Olga. So more guests are arriving and mixing and mingling. Eisenstein makes his entrance. He's pretending to be a French nobleman named the Marquis de Renard. He soon encounters his maid, Adele, who is pretending to be the actress, Olga. Now here's an awkward situation. Adele knows right away that she's looking at her boss, Eisenstein, and Eisenstein is pretty sure that the actress standing in front of him is his maid, Adele. But neither of them wants to expose the other in such a high society setting. Adele goes the extra mile to convince Eisenstein that she isn't who he thinks she is. And this is where she sings the coloratura aria popularly known as Adele's laughing song to rubbish his suspicions. While this is happening, Falker quickly writes a note to be delivered to Rosalinda, urging her to immediately come to Orlovsky's party in disguise and see her husband flirting with actresses. Now, remember Mr. Frank, the jailhouse director? He arrives at the party too. And he's also pretending to be a French aristocrat. He's left his prisoners and he's coming to chill. He strikes up a conversation with the other fake Frenchman, Eisenstein. And remember, he doesn't even realize that Eisenstein is the man that he was supposed to be escorting to prison. Since they are both faking their French nobleman status and they want to impress each other, they decide to have a chat in French. The problem is that neither of them speaks French. So they're just mentioning French words and phrases that they've heard before without understanding what they mean, making up a whole conversation to fool each other. Le croissant, la vie est belle. À bientôt. Frère Jacques, dormez-vous? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Oui, oui, je m'appelle. Nonsense. Prince Orlovsky is watching all of this with amusement. There's something he knows that they don't. Now our Madame Rosalinda arrives in full disguise. She's pretending to be a wealthy Hungarian countess. She's wearing a fabulous, intricate mask as part of her disguise. Remember that in his note to Rosalinda, Falke mentioned that Eisenstein is flirting, so Rosalinda wants to see this for herself. Falke takes her to a spot where she can spy on Eisenstein and Adele chatting happily in the garden. Rosalinda is like, hey, this man. So is this the prison he said he was going to? Sister Rosalinda, let's not forget that you were willing to risk it all for Alfred, if not for the fact that prison Papa Frank came knocking at your door. Relax with the outrage, sister. Anyway, Eisenstein eventually comes back into the main ballroom and Falke introduces him to the Hungarian countess. Rosalinda's disguise is so good that her own husband Eisenstein doesn't recognize her, and he finds himself very attracted to this mysterious Hungarian woman. He immediately asks for a moment alone with Rosalinda, and he offers her one of his prized possessions, a watch, if she will agree to date him. Rosalinda politely declines, but as they're interacting, she finds a way to steal the watch from his pocket so that she can use it as evidence to confront him later. Soon, the party guests all gather in the main ballroom, and they're all intrigued by the presence of this Hungarian countess, and they are eager to see the face behind her mask. So they insist she remove it. For obvious reasons, Rosalinda can't take that mask off, and Prince Orlovsky swiftly comes to her aid. He tells the guests that it would be impolite to ask Rosalinda to remove anything, including her mask. Rosalinda is relieved. But to convince the guests of her Hungarian identity, she decides to sing a song about her homeland, Hungary. The guests are impressed by her bravura performance, and she's off the hook for now. Prince Orlovsky breaks out the champagne, proposes a toast, and the party continues. They literally party all night. And as morning comes, reality sets in. Frank, the prison director, takes his drunken self back to work to check on the prisoners. While he's there, Adele and her sister Ida show up. They followed him there, still believing that he's an influential Frenchman, and they want him to sponsor Adele's acting career. Meanwhile, Alfred, who has been sitting in prison in place of Eisenstein, has asked for a lawyer. The same terrible lawyer who messed up Eisenstein's appeal, Dr. Blint. Then, Eisenstein and Falke arrive at the prison for Eisenstein to start serving his sentence. But remember, Alfred is already there, pretending to be Eisenstein. Obviously, there's total confusion now. Frank and Eisenstein now realize that neither of them is a French nobleman, and Frank realizes that he has the wrong prisoner in custody. At this point, Frank tells Eisenstein about how he went to his house to collect him and found Rosalinda there with another man. And they looked very cozy. Eisenstein can't believe his ears. Like, Rosalinda, my Rosalinda. No, it can't be. Dr. Blint, the lawyer, is also there, and he's looking very confused because he was expecting to see Eisenstein in a cell, but he's watching Eisenstein standing around chatting with people as if he's just a normal visitor. Then Rosalinda arrives at the prison. Why is everyone hopping from Orlovsky's mansion to Frank's prison? So Rosalinda is there because she wants to visit Alfred. Alfred is like, I've asked for a lawyer and I think he should be here by now. Well, yes, Blint is at the prison, but Eisenstein wants to find out more about Rosalinda and her mystery man. So guess what he does? He takes Dr. Blint's lawyer wig and his robe and even his eyeglasses, and he disguises himself as Blint, and he goes to meet with Alfred and Rosalinda. This opera can give you vertigo, I tell you. So he starts questioning Rosalinda and Alfred, and eventually he reveals his true identity and starts having a go at Rosalinda for having a boyfriend. Then Rosalinda is like, hey, not so fast, sir. Does this look familiar? And she pulls out Eisenstein's watch. You know, the one she stole from his pocket at the party. She's like, yes, I saw you flirting and having a great time at Orlovsky's party, even though you told me you were going to jail. Yes, I am the Hungarian Countess. You were flirting with me, and you couldn't even recognize me. Your own wife. Awkward. This whole situation could descend into full-blown chaos, but I guess Volker realized it was time to bring everyone together and come clean. Yes, Volker is the mastermind behind the mayhem. He now tells everyone that they are all part of his revenge plot to get back at Eisenstein for a prank. You see, the thing is, Eisenstein and Volker both attended a costume party some years prior. Volker dressed up as a bat for that party. Bat, Die Fledermaus. Volker got so drunk that he collapsed and fell asleep in a very busy part of town. And as a joke, Eisenstein watched him fall asleep and just left him there. When Volker woke up the next morning, he was the laughing stock of the whole town, and everyone called him the drunken bat. So he spoke to Prince Orlovsky about pulling this prank on Eisenstein, and that's what they did. So Eisenstein, Rosalinda, Adele, Ida, Dr. Blint, Frank, and all the other characters who we can't mention in this synopsis because there isn't enough time, are all part of this prank against Eisenstein, and they knew nothing about it. Eisenstein thinks the whole thing is hilarious. Like, all right, man, all right, you got me, you got me. And he apologizes to Rosalinda for his bad behavior. Rosalinda is still upset with him. I'm like, girl, just accept his apology and move on. Look, he's even forgotten about the Alfred thing. And eventually she accepts his apology after he explains that it was the alcohol that made him do it. Blame it on the champagne. Oh, did I mention that Orlovsky also comes to the prison for the revelation? Well, he does. And he also makes a very kind gesture. He offers to sponsor Adele in fulfilling her dreams of becoming an actress. I need a Prince Orlovsky in my life. Lord, I see what you do for others. So all is well now. And as they stand in the prison, they celebrate and sing joyfully. And that is Die Fledermaus. Cheers.